everyone, thanks so much for joining me. Today I'm creating a layout for the Felicity Jane creative team and I'm using the beautiful Mila kit. And as always, I'm in love with the gorgeous florals in this kit. That floral patterned paper is definitely one of my favourite things in the kit, and I love that every month there's always a beautiful floral patterned paper in the Felicity Jane kits, and it's always the one that I gravitate to first. And so I knew that I really wanted to create a layout that features those florals. And I love fussy cutting, and I know that a lot of people don't really enjoy it, but for me, I actually find it quite relaxing. So I decided to fussy cut all of the florals out of that patterned paper. And I obviously won't make you watch that entire process because it took me a bit of time, but I just sat and watched some process videos while I was doing it, and I really enjoyed that. I think it's just something that you don't really have to think too much about, and yeah, I just find it relaxing. And then once I have all of those floral clusters cut out, my plan is to arrange them into a wreath on my layout, and that's going to be the main feature on the page. Okay, so there you can see that I've got them all cut out and ready to go. And that's my photo that I'm going to be scrapbooking today. It's one of my eldest daughter, Abby, taken at my youngest daughter's birthday party recently. And it's such a beautiful photo of her, although I must admit that I love all photos of her. She's so photogenic, and I know that I'm biased because I'm her mum, but I think she has the most beautiful smile, and I love that she's always happy for me to photograph her. And so I think the colours in this photo are going to work perfectly with the Mila kit. Okay, so you saw there that I just gutted the middle out of that dotted patterned paper, and that's because I'm going to use that to mat my white cardstock on, and I don't want to use the entire sheet of the paper because you're not going to see all of it anyway, and I'll use that middle piece on another layout. And then I also trimmed down my cardstock so that it's slightly smaller than 12 inches. And now I just want to add a little bit of mixed media where I'm going to be adding those flowers, just so that you can see it coming out from behind the wreath. And I'm using some Tim Holtz Distress ink, and the colour that I'm using is, I think it's Bundled Sage. So as you can see, I'm just rubbing it onto some plastic packaging and then spritzing it with some water and sort of just mixing it round with a paintbrush and then just smushing it onto the page. And in the end, you don't end up seeing very much of this. A lot of it ends up getting covered up by the flowers, but you can see little bits of it peeking out from behind the wreath. And I probably could have gone back and added more, but once I had the flowers positioned on the page, I didn't really want to move them again. So I ended up just leaving it as is, and I think it looks pretty. It just adds a nice subtle watercolour look behind the flowers. And so I also added some splatters of the ink to the page as well to finish off the background. Okay, so I also added some machine stitching around the edge of the cardstock, and this is something I like to do on my layouts, particularly if I'm going to mat the cardstock on patterned paper, and it just gives it a nice border and adds some subtle texture to the page as well. Okay, so now I'm ready to start adding my flowers and creating the wreath. And I'm just going to play around with this a bit until I'm happy with how it looks. So I'm just sort of overlapping them and piecing them together and just trying to make sure that they're evenly spread and that I have a nice circular shape. I didn't want it to look lopsided or anything. So I just play around with it until I'm happy. And I think these florals are so perfect for this. It was really quite easy to create this wreath, and I think it looks really pretty. Okay, so now I have them all positioned where I want them and I'm ready to stick them down. So I'm just adding a little bit of liquid glue underneath each flower, and I don't want them to be flat to the page, so I'm only adding glue to the center of each one so that then the leaves will lift nicely off the page and it will give the wreath lots of dimension, and I love how that looks. Okay, so now I have all of the flowers stuck down and I'm ready to bring in my photo and embellishments. So I'm going to mat my photo with some vellum. I did think about matting it with a patterned paper or one of the solid colour papers from the kit, but I decided that the vellum would just add a nice soft layer behind the photo without it being too much. Yeah, it just adds a layer there and helps the photo to pop off the page. So I'm also going to add some adhesive craft foam underneath the photo as well, just to give it some extra dimension. And then I'm going to tuck it into the wreath with some of the flowers and leaves overlapping it. And I like how that looks just sort of nestled in there. So now I've pulled out some of the die cuts from the kit, and I knew straight away that I wanted to use that happy die cut as the title for the layout. And I'm going to position that up in the top left hand section of the wreath there to balance out the photo. So you can see that they're sort of sitting diagonally opposite one another. So I'm also going to add a few of the wood veneer pieces from the Mila collection. So these were actually an add-on to the kit. So they weren't included in the main kit, but often there are extra things like traveller's notebook inserts and things like that that you can purchase as an add-on to the kit, and these wood shapes were one of those items. And of course you can also purchase extra patterned papers, which I think is always a good idea if you like both sides of the papers. Or if you think you'll need extras of any of the embellishments, you can add those on as well and have them shipped with your kit. So then I added a small strip of the gold heart washi tape to both the top and bottom edges of the layout, just to help to draw your eye from the top left hand corner down through the title and the photo and to the bottom right hand corner of the page. Then up the top there, I'm also going to attach one of the die cuts from the kit using a mini rose gold heart paper clip. And these are so cute. And sorry, once again, these are an add-on to the kit. The kit did come with mini gold heart clips, but these are the rose gold ones, and they're sold separately. And I did also add a little word sticker up the top there as well, but I ended up taking this off because I just felt like it was a bit out of place. I felt like if I added that there, that I needed to add a couple more somewhere else on the layout, and I didn't really want to do that, so I do end up taking that off. So I'm just adding some small pieces of foam tape to the back of the die cut word to lift it up and give it some extra dimension, because I always love lots of dimension on my layouts. And I'm going to come in now with some little black epoxy hearts, and these were from the Kate kit and they're still available to purchase separately. So I chose the black ones just because I had black in the title but I didn't have it anywhere else on the layout, so I just wanted to bring in a little bit more black so that it didn't look out of place. And so I add 3 of these to the page to create a visual triangle. And the last thing that I'm going to do is add some sequins to the layout to finish it off. And these were ones that I had left over from one of the Felicity Jane kits from last year, probably from about a year ago. And I'm just separating out the gold ones because I just wanted to use the gold ones on this page, not the pink ones. And I'm just going to sprinkle them around the wreath just to add that final finishing touch to the layout. And then that's going to finish it off. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hello to all my new subscribers who have joined my channel recently. Thank you so much for subscribing. And I will be back soon with another video. So see you later, guys. Bye.